Aloha everyone, I'm Amanda Lee Patti, your host for the Radical Raw Authenticity Sessions, your source for inspiring, powerful, and conscious conversations with some of the world's most leading and inspiring visionary game changers. So how is it where you're at? From this angle anyway, it looks warm and sunny.
Beautiful. Can't complain. California. I mean, we're always kind of spoiled. I think you travel other places in the world, and you actually have seasons everywhere else. Out here, it's just constantly, perpetually summer. Beautiful. Can't complain.
Lucky. It's like 40 something here and rainy.
Where are you?
I'm in Massachusetts, so just north of Boston.
Oh my God, 40 and rainy. I think. See, the thing is out here, when it gets that cold and that rainy, people just start freaking out. Like they drive like they don't know how to drive anymore. It's bonkers out here. People go crazy. We get mental. Seriously, we couldn't live anywhere else. Like staying inside for 2 days at a time would just freak most people out, I think. It's beautiful.
Well, I think a lot of people here are freaking out because, I mean, we didn't have that bad of a winter this year, but it's felt really, really long in terms of lack of sun and warm weather. I mean, we've had a couple of nice warm days where it got up to 70, and I think there was a day or two it hit 80 degrees, but it's like we get that one day, and then Mother Nature's like, ha, sucker.
Yeah. Totally.
So, yeah, I think all of us New Englanders, we are so craving warm weather and sunshine right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, it's almost summer, so just hold in a little longer and you'll get there. So
exactly, you just breathe into it and surrender.
Yeah. You gotta just learn how to enjoy. Hey, it's easy for me to say because I'm from California, but I always say, it's important to enjoy all the seasons. I mean, they're inevitable. There's like seasons to life. It's just kind of, you got to take in the good and just focus on what you love about it, and just love it. I mean, inevitably, if you hate half of the year, you're gonna hate half of your life. So just try to focus on what's good. But then again, that's easy for me to say. It's a nice sunny day over here. I'm gonna go surf after this call. Hey, come on, shut up, guy from California. You don't have to miserable cold 0-degree winters.
Sure, rub it in.
So what are you working on? You're doing. I'm hearing some exciting things on your end. We've been kind of chatting on Messenger a bit. What's going on in your world? What's happening?
Yeah, so I have a couple fun and exciting things going on. I guess the most exciting right now is that my dear friend Shine Milling and I are officially launching our immersion down in Nicaragua this July from the 13th through the 22nd, and it's like this big heart-gasm, for lack of a better word.
What did you say?
It's a heart-gasm.
I love it.
Yeah, it's just like pure love coming through, and yeah, it's, I don't know, I lack the words to describe how incredibly excited I am for this immersion, because it's taking, I feel like, everything that I'm passionate about, everything that Shine's passionate about, and we just combined it into this one kick-ass experience.
I love it, and it sounds like a bit of a passion project. Yeah.
It's a huge passion project for sure, and it's like I co-led a retreat a couple of years ago, and I've really been sitting with things and how I want my business to go, and a huge piece to me is giving back to community.
Right.
So I kind of set this intention that any retreats that I do moving forward have to have some sort of humanitarian piece to it, where, we who quote unquote have everything have the opportunity to go into communities that are quote unquote less fortunate than us. Again, it's all like this interesting perspective thing.
Yeah.
And, offer things to them from our materialistic world. And at the same time, and what better gift can we receive than the gift of unconditional love and happiness from these people who literally have nothing but they have so much joy that exists within them. They're just like, gosh, I want to combine two things together and turn it into just this beautiful, heart expansive experience, which I think is why I use the term heart-gasm, because it doesn't get much better than that.
That's beautiful. And I think giving back in that sense, and you're at the kind of the perfect place to do that in Nicaragua. I've traveled to Nicaragua a couple of times, and the first time traveling there, really, it changed my perspective on a lot of things. And it didn't take me longer than 10 minutes outside of the airport for me to start shifting perspective. And happiness was the big lesson that I learned out there. And so I remember getting off the airport. I was on a surf trip with my buddy, and we're driving down the road out of Managua. Have you been to Nicaragua yet?
I have not been down there yet. Shine's been down there several times over the past, I think, like 5 or 7 years.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful country. Beautiful country. So we're at the airport. We're on site. We're driving. I'm looking out the window, and I just noticed, the first thing I noticed immediately outside of the sheer humidity was the poverty. And so I'm looking out the window, and all of a sudden I see like this kind of a park area, but it was just covered in like tents and tarps, and families living in these tents and tarps as like their makeshift homes. And so I see this area, and I immediately kind of go, I felt sorry. I felt this inherent sense of just, sorrow, and I felt bad for these people. And so as we keep driving, I see this little boy on the side of the road, and he wasn't wearing shoes. He didn't have a shirt on, and he was playing with like this. It looked to me as if he was playing with like this plastic grocery bag, and like those grocery bags that you get, those brown kind of plastic bags, not paper ones, plastic ones, and he's kind of, using it as like a kite, kind of, or something, like that, kind of throwing it. And I saw it, and I was like, my first thought was going, this kid has nothing to play with. He is, just poor kid, has nothing, and he has found this bag apparently, and he's playing with it. He's making fun out of the bag, and I felt so sorry for this kid, and I was going, this is terrible. And as we kept driving, I can see the kid's face, and he had, I don't know, it was such a moment for me. He had the biggest smile on his face I had seen in, I don't know, I felt like ever. I felt like it was the most authentic smile I'd ever seen. And the thing that stuck with me, it took us about 2 hours to get to where we were going on the truck, and I kept thinking of this kid, and I kept going, what was it about this kid, that made him so seemingly happy? And it was just extraordinary to me. And I thought about all the people back home, who have seemingly everything, nice cars, trophy husbands and wives, a lot of money, vacation homes, money to do whatever they want, but are utterly miserable. And then the juxtaposition between that and then this kid who has seemingly nothing and seems utterly happy. And at the time, I was reading a bit about Dalai Lama, and then I think I read The Art of Happiness at the time, and it just clicked. I went, gratitude. The concept of not on focusing on having what you want, but instead on focusing on wanting what you already have. And that was the beginning of so much for me as far as like learning about happiness. So when you go there and you're going to do this humanitarian work, and you're going to see people, I think one of the first things you're going to see is very happy people, giving a lot of gratitude. Some of the sweetest people I've met in my travels. So there's my story on happiness.
And it's a really powerful story on happiness. And I'm super curious, how has that informed, I guess, your day-to-day life now, how you approach your life in general and how you approach your coaching practice?
Oh, wow. Life in general. It's definitely gotten me interested in certain philosophies, especially Eastern philosophies, with kind of that are lasered in on happiness and living life. I think and it got me kind of into learning about types of Buddhism, especially Zen Buddhism, about being present, meditation, which has really benefited me in just being completely, not even just happy, but euphoric over what I have in my life and what's just surrounded me. I read this quote once, and I don't know who said it, but it was such a great quote. He says, you know, somebody who is truly happy can find as much pleasure eating a grain of rice as buying a Lamborghini. You know, and so just finding that pleasure and that joy and that euphoria and that bliss in the small things in life. Meditation has helped cultivate that in my mind, for sure. You know, sometimes I'll kind of get up after meditation and I'll just find myself staring at a palm tree. You know, there's a palm tree right there outside my window, and I'll just look at it and I'll watch it kind of flowing in the wind. And, you know, and I go, wow, that's so beautiful. And I catch myself for like 10 minutes just looking at this palm tree going, wow, that's just, wow, you know, like a kid going like, wow, look at you. Are you guys seeing this? This is incredible. Yeah, it's a palm tree, dude. Big deal. But it's so cool, you know? Yeah, just like that. And then I think, you know, learning about Zen has gotten me interested in learning about Tao, which is essentially about like the flow of life, you know, not to resist the flow of life and just to kind of go with it, but to be cognizant of the flow. And that has helped influence much of my coaching when I work with people on discovering life purpose, which is really interesting. So that's a whole thing on in itself. But I've noticed that things that I was coaching about were already very Zen and Tao, but these philosophies help me kind of make it, put the words behind it, I think, a little easier, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. And I think also happiness, going back to the happiness story, that's the foundation of everything we do. I mean, you can coach a CEO, you know, you're a coach as well, to make, you know, I don't know, 7 figures this year instead of the 6 that he's making. You can coach people to change careers, all these things, but if they're not happy, none of that crap matters. So that is the foundation. That's something I touch on almost weekly. Like, what's going good in your life? You know, what are you happy about? What are you proud of? You know, let's not talk about the company for a minute. How's your relationships? You know, how's everything going? How's your health? You know, let's talk about balance, happiness, all that. So yeah, that's definitely had I mean, when I tell that story, I always get chills because it continues to have a profound impact on my life. And I think that happened 10 years ago. So it's still, you know, I wish I could talk to that kid and go, you changed my life. You didn't even know, you know, and just let him know just how important that moment was. And he has no idea it even happened, you know, but I did write about it in my book. So maybe one day he'll read the book and go, I think that sounds like me. Well, I don't know.
Amazing. Yeah. And it really makes me think how much we take for granted, you know, in our lives, and how there is such an invitation for us to bring back that childlike wonder into everything that we do and everything that we experience. We have this opportunity that, I mean, even just waking up in the morning and being like, wow, it's so freaking cool. Here I am laying in bed, and look, it's a brand new day today.
I don't know if you saw my daily reflection yesterday, but it was all about, you know, man, talk about this, and you want people to know, just being alive and waking up every day. It's not just a gift, man. That's a privilege. It's a privilege just to be alive, just to wake up. And when you start approaching life with that kind of lens, you do see more abundance, and you see more opportunity for fun and just enjoying yourself, I think. I don't know. That's me. I mean, I see that very, very much in my work with and the people that are surrounded by me constantly. You know, just seeing it, waking up and saying, man, this is a privilege to be alive today. It's a privilege. Even if you're waking up in the snow in the winter at 0 degrees, it's still a privilege.
It is still a privilege, and I can say that I've been there and I've done that.
Yeah, good. Doesn't it change the whole standard for your day? Just kind of waking up and going, you know, today's a day in a crap mood. Just kind of going, today's going to be a beautiful day. I think it sets the standard for There's so much beauty throughout the rest.
Well, yeah, it does. Absolutely. I mean, there's such a huge difference with starting the day with, gosh, how amazing is it that I am here today, that I woke up this morning, that I can breathe in and out. And, look at all the beauty that surrounds us versus starting the day like, ugh, I have to get up. It's 4:45. I have to be in my car by 5:30 to sit in my car for an hour in bumper to bumper traffic to go to a job that I absolutely hate. Just like, it just starts the day on this low note, this low vibration. And it's like, just that one simple shift of changing your attitude and how you wake up in the morning shifts everything.
So instead of saying I have to wake up, what if you kind of said like, I get to wake up today? Or instead of like, just everything. Man, let me tell you, when I was used to have an hour of traffic back and forth, and I stopped saying I have to sit in traffic, and I started going with the mindset of I get to sit in traffic. And so not only did that make me like happier, I guess, a little bit, I still have to sit in traffic, but I started seeing the opportunity in sitting in traffic. So whereas most people, they sit in traffic and they look at it as like, oh, I'm wasting time. I said, all right, I get to sit in traffic. What can I do that's productive when I'm doing this? And I learned a language. You can listen to books. There's all this. You can take a course. It's like 2 or 3 courses a year, and that's most Americans in traffic. Courses. Like, you can download courses that most universities have and listen to them and learn something. You're playing that I have to sit and learn something, man. Learn language. Have experience. There's so much opportunity there. So, yeah, it does shift a lot. You just change the mindset, and so much can change. Just change the mindset. Instead of I have to, I get to.
Yeah, exactly. It's that one simple shift, that one like drop of rain that causes this huge ripple effect in the day. It's just absolutely beautiful to experience, and then to watch people shift their lives by making that shift themselves.
Because let's be honest, this. Just as much as it all starts right here. All of it. No matter what's happening in your life, no matter what's going on, it all starts right there. And that's it. Once you change the way you think about things, the whole world is at your fingertips. I can tell you that from firsthand experience. So no matter what circumstances you're facing in your life, it's not the circumstances that you're facing that define you. It's how you choose to respond to those circumstances. So instead of I have to, I'm going to wake up at 5:30 and sit in traffic. I get to be up early and be up before the sun comes up and before everybody else. And I get to have that cup of coffee in the morning before everybody else wakes up at that magic hour. I get to sit in traffic for an hour and learn a language or learn something I've always wanted to learn by listening to it. I get to go to a job. Maybe I don't like it too much, but it's better. It's more than what that kid in Nicaragua has right now. And at least I have a roof to sleep over. Have over my head when I sleep. So it's the way you see things cultivates so much positivity, and then through that positivity, even more possibility. That single mindset shift. You can read this in any books about success. Think and Grow Rich, Millionaire Mindset, Tony Robbins, whatever. If there's anything that people can tell you, it's just changing the way you think about things. You don't need a giant bookshelf of success books. Just do that. Change the way you think. You want to be successful. Here it is. Change the way you think about things. Find the positive in it. Be passionate about what you do and be persistent in it. Bam, done. Case closed. You don't have to open another book as long as you live. That's it. Game on.
Exactly. And there was something interesting you said in there that caught my attention is how we choose to respond to things. Because so often we find ourselves reacting to things. It's even just like taking a moment, step back, take a breath, and check in with ourselves. And instead of choosing to be reactive, we have a choice to be proactive and respond to a situation versus like just unconsciously or subconsciously based on our habitual patterns and the way we perceive ourselves in the world and the stories we tell ourselves and just react.
Yes. Yes. And what's a reaction? It's an emotional triggered response. We're triggered emotionally. And that's a reaction is when we're out of control of our emotions, right? A response is a logical action. So that's still being emotional, but it's being in control of our emotions. So most people, when you know, the dude in the Cadillac cuts us off and he's driving too slow on the freeway, we have a reaction based off emotion. Who's he to do that to me? This and this and this. And what does that do? It cultivates just more anger the rest of our day. It ruins our day. But if we have a response, what is that? It's a very meditative approach, right? As far as I think. It's a focus and, take a breath and try to think about, why did he do that? Maybe he didn't see me. Yeah. Maybe he's old. Maybe he's had a hard time. Maybe he just, has having one of those days. There's a million other reasons. And it's much easier to deal with. That's something so small, somebody cutting you off, but we could take that through everything in our life. Respond, don't react. That's another good one.
Yeah. That is a really good one too. And something else I find interesting is sometimes not asking ourselves, why did he do this to me? Because that's another thing that we tend to think of is that it's like everything is happening to me versus, wait, this is happening for me. And what is the positive spin to this particular situation? What is this growth opportunity for me? What am I invited to experience within myself? And it's like, oh yeah, that guy cut me off. And I'm feeling really pissed off because he cut me off. So I have a choice. I can either let myself get carried away and create this big story as to who knows what's going on in his life and why he may have done that, or I can just sit and choose to breathe and just let all that shit go.
Wow, I like that though. That's really, why is this happening for me? That's really great. I've never thought about it in those kind of words, and it's really cool. I think that's really great. I like to ask in a bigger challenge, in life, I would like to say, to kind of add to what you said, if this storm were to come into your life and it was disguised as a lesson, what would it be begging to teach you? And that's another great one, man. And a lot of people get very uncomfortable. So like in a coaching session, we'll ask that, and it's a very difficult thing. They're struggling with something very difficult. I'll let them know, hey, I'm just going to let you know. I'm going to get a little adventurous here, and it's okay with you, And yes, I want to turn up the heat just a bit, and you ask something like that, and that usually takes a while to answer. And at home, if you're watching this at home and you're thinking, what challenge am I facing right now? And what is the lesson it's begging to teach me? If it was disguised as a lesson, what would it be begging to teach me? If that's taking you a couple minutes to answer, it doesn't mean there's not an answer there. It means you need to be asking that even more. It means you really reflect on that. As a coach, you know this too. When your clients, they don't answer the question right away, that's when you know you need to be asking more questions like that. Well, that's a good question. All right, cool. Awkward silence for 2 minutes. Great. Take your time. Figure that one out.
Yeah. And I think it's a great invitation for us too as coaches to be comfortable with the discomfort that may arise from that and being in the space of like, oh yeah, my client is really processing a lot of stuff right now. And am I comfortable just holding space and being quiet? Not saying anything.
Hey, that's great. I mean, I'm sure we have a lot of coaches watching this. Shut up. You don't need to talk so much, man. You've been coached by some people. I have been too, and just you don't need to talk. A lot of that power is at stake for me to be able to ponder and to be able to, explore. And a great coach, what a great coach does is offers the tools to help you do that. The right questions at the right time, going deep, exactly when you need to. But then you have these coaches who will ask such a powerful question. Maybe they'll have like this powerful question they ask you, and you sit there and you're thinking about it, and then they'll ask another one. You're like, no, like stop. Sometimes the best thing, and this is good for life too. Sometimes the best things, even if you're not a coach, the best things are often not said. You just don't. Silence sometimes is the best thing. And then we have the silence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that was beautiful what we just kind of hit on there in life in general and in the coaching community. And one kind of thought form that flew through my head as we're sitting and talking about some of these challenging experiences that, you know, not only our clients have, but we certainly have been through them ourselves, is that sometimes when we're in the midst of the muck and we're caught up in that tornadic swirl and the chaos of this invitation to grow, it can be really challenging to sit and say, this is for my best interest. This is happening for me, and there's something here for my growth, and what is that? So just want to kind of acknowledge that part too, that sometimes it's like when we're in the middle of things, it can be challenging to just stop and breathe and just get really, really still.
That's the most important thing, I think, right? And that goes back, let's full circle back into what you said earlier, to respond and not to react. You know? Don't have that kind of emotional reaction, you know, that triggered kind of reaction, kind of respond and go, how is this a good thing? You know, what is this teaching me? You know, what can I learn from this? You know, how do I want to come out of this? I think that's so utterly important. And like you said so beautifully, to be still and just to kind of let your heart kind of show you the direction, I think is so important.
Yeah, I think the other important piece too, and talking about like emotions and triggers and stuff like that, I think there's this interesting dance between reacting, responding, and just letting our emotions flow through us versus controlling the emotions and bottling them up, which is like the other flip side to it. So it's like, yeah, we have the reactivity of triggers and emotional responses. Then, you know, we can respond to things and at the same time give ourselves permission to allow whatever emotions happen to be arising to flow through us.
Wow, that's important. Yeah, so instead of suppressing something that's so utterly important, you know, that we should be cognizant of and recognizing, you know, exploring it maybe a bit.
Right, or expressing it or acknowledging it, you know, like going back with the guy in the car and saying, yeah, you know, I'm really pissed off that he cut me off. Or, you know, maybe we've been given this really life-changing experience, whether it's, you know, death in the family or divorce or, you know, God forbid, you know, somebody's diagnosed with cancer or something like that. And just giving ourselves permission to process everything that happens to come up as a result of that. Give ourselves permission to feel the fear that we may be feeling, maybe feel the anger, maybe feel the grief and sadness in there, and, you know, give ourselves permission to yell and scream and cry and do what we have to do to just get it out.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's a very primal, wild thing kind of way to do that. I think that's cool, man. I think that's great.
Yeah, well, it goes back to our nature. I mean, we are animals after all.
Right, that's totally right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. That's why I always say it's a big part of my, actually one of the programs I'm designing right now, it's called Unleash Your Wild Thing. It is so much, unleashing that with your, you know, just kind of that spirit animal that you have inside you, you know, whatever that is, man, you know? So yeah, much of my, my wording too is very much like that, you know, very primal, and I talk a lot about those kinds of things.
Awesome. So tell me more about this program.
Well, I'm doing a handful. So, you know, I'm pretty booked up with clients at the moment, like private clients. So, something I've been wanting to do for years is do e-courses for people who, you know, maybe they don't have the means to invest in coaching, private coaching, but they want something to work on. And at the moment right now, I'm booked up with clients at the moment. So, well, what can I do that can help people, you know, in other ways that aren't just one-on-one coaching? And something I've wanted to do for years is e-courses. So I'm designing one called Unleash Your Wild Thing, which is kind of expressing your authentic self and owning who you are. And just, it's really kind of my most rounded personal development kind of course, things that I've done in my life and my years of personal development and coaching and being coached. I have another one that I'm working on concurrently, which is happiness one I haven't named, which is kind of the art of happiness, essentially learning to cultivate that in your life. And then another one that I'm working on is it's called Crush Your Dreams, which is my coaching goal setting framework. And it's about goal setting and goal achievement. And it's going to be packaged, all of these things. I'm designing it right now in beautiful formats, and it's going to have video and text and practices and all these things. And it's going to be e-courses. You can download them off my website. So the 3 of them, my aim is to have them out by, I'm going to say summer. I think by the beginning of summer. And then, yeah, I'll have that. And then I'm also toying with the idea. See, I have such an entrepreneur mind, but like the technician in me is going like, oh my God, slow down. So, God, because when I set it in my head, I have to do it. So I know I'll be busy until summer, but the other one is I coach people privately on a number of things, goal setting, business, and finding purpose. So I'm toying with the idea of just having those as downloadable programs on my site as well. So if you want to find your purpose, but don't want to invest in coaching, I don't have the means to do it, then you can download the program. If you want to take my Barefoot Business program, but don't have the means to invest in one-on-one coaching, you can just download the framework for it and the practices and tools and everything off my website. So I'm toying with that idea too. So we'll see. But usually if I'm toying with the idea, I'll probably do it anyway. So,
yeah, total entrepreneur mind there.
Yeah. But that you're obviously very clearly passionate about what you do. So it never feels like work. I haven't worked in years. I'm working, I work very hard, but it never feels like work. I'm loving it, man. I'm smiling. I love it. So it just, none of that really matters to me. I have that vision and all these things that I want to do, and it's all more exciting than it is it excites me more than it kind of worries me, more than I get anxious thinking about it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And you hit on a huge thing. It's like, I don't know, when you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. I mean, not really. It's work is play. And, it's like, how blessed are we that we get to wake up each and every single morning and sit and share space with clients, and have fun doing it and watch their lives shift and change, and then create amazing, books and products and courses and retreats and everything else, all that comes from the heart,
That's, yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely your heart. It's not like sitting at a desk and doing mundane things that don't fill you up. It really is daily. This, just filling your soul up with what you're passionate about. And I think that's so important in discovering purpose, because purpose and passion are two things that are there's a synergy between those two things. And when you find your purpose and you're passionate about what you're doing, you don't have to work a day the rest of your life, ever. You don't have to hit that snooze button 5 times, before you get out of bed. You don't have to, dread going to the office. Just love what you do. And the world needs more what you love. So it's not even a selfish thing. At least the people I've worked with in discovering purpose, it's a very, it's just as selfless as it is selfish, because the world needs whatever it is that you have inside you that wants to come out. Desperate. At this point, too, I think the era we're alive, this era right now, I think desperately, more than ever, the world needs that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I love how you said, it's selfless to find a purpose and be doing, basically what your purpose, what your mission is here in life. Mm-hmm. In some ways, I think it's very selfish. And I don't know, that would probably trigger and piss some people off, but that's okay. In some ways, I think it's very selfish if we are just going about our days, living in a mundane world, solely to, you know, keep a roof over our head, put food on the table, and all these other things, but never really enjoying life, never doing what lights us up, never doing what really fulfills us, and just kind of sticking with the whole matrix thing. And, you know, you go to college and you get a degree and you do X, Y, and Z, you stay with the company for 30 years, and who cares if you're happy or not? Because, you know, when you're 65 or 70, you can retire and then you can finally live.
Isn't that the most, talk about not reacting and responding, just on the big picture here, just, oh my God, it's just like, you know, because I was in it, you know, I was going through the steps, you know, got to do this, and you go to grade school, and you got to go to high school, and then from high school you got to go to college, and if you get your grades, you got to get a job, and if you get a good job, you get a raise, and then you got to constantly go through the corporate ladder, and then, you know, you get a household like this, and you have a kid, and then blah, 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 and it's like so exhausting, and then you retire, and then by the time you retire, you're tired, and you're going, now what? Now what? You know, and I was in that. But take a step back and just, even if you're in that position, just do me a favor and just try to understand the absurdity of that. The absolute bonkers idea that is, that you spend most of your life, the golden years of your life, the best years of your life, miserable, so you can have a couple, 2 to 3 decades just to relax and have what kind of madness is that? You get one shot at this life, and you're gonna, you know, and we're conditioned. This is no fault to anybody that are in this position. You were conditioned to really do that, and it's crazy because we're constantly going through the motions. The next step, the next step, the next step, and then in doing that, we don't have time to reflect. We don't have time to respond. We're only reacting to what we should be doing, what society's telling us, the cultural pressures are telling us we have to be doing. And we never have a minute to ask ourselves, who am I? What's my purpose? Why am I here? And we're constantly, the next step, what's next? We don't have a class in high school to discover your purpose. We don't have a class in high school that teaches us to follow our dreams. Hell, we don't even have a class in high school that teaches us how to file taxes or to start your own business, right? Practical things. And we're expected to know what we want to do with the rest of our lives before we even know who the hell we are. That blows my, it's insanity to me. It's insanity. So because it scared the shit out of me when I was younger, going through that, and I had to take a step back. Only, you know, and I went, this is crazy. I can't, you know, this is insane. I don't know who the hell I am, and I'm gonna go, you know. And I think if I was gonna go down my career path that I had chosen, and what the counselor said I should be, I was gonna be like accountant or something. I don't, like something boring like that. I was just like, that could be me right now. It gives me the chills. It freaks me out. No way. No thanks.
Yeah, and it's really interesting that you say that and share that, because it is such programming that we all grew up with, and I certainly went through it. You know, it's like I went all through grade school and went into college, and it was interesting for me. It's like looking back at my path. You know, people think, oh, it's, you know, it's a straight line, and it's really this big, squiggly, messed up ball of yarn type of thing, and that's very much been my life. It's like, you know, I left high school and went into music school for a year and took a year off, and then I started urban and community forestry for a year, and then I moved to Alaska and just like all this crazy stuff, and got married, had my first kid up there, and came back here, had my second kid, got divorced, and I was like, oh, now what?
Now what? Now what?
Now what?
Well, there's an art to that. There's an art to that. I think I call it the art of aimless exploration, and that is most people have a path laid out for them before they even, you know what it is they want. They have that path, and there's a well-paved path. It's very safe, but it's not safe emotionally. So they take it because it's safe. But aimless exploration would be going, ooh, there's a little something here, and let me go explore and see what that is. And hey, maybe you take that road off the path and you kind of explore and you try it and you go, this isn't for me, I'm going to go back. And you go back. Or maybe by going down that little path, you see another path kind of breaking off. And you go, this isn't me, but I see something else going this way. But you would have never found that other path had you had the balls and the courage to take that small little fork in the road. And so it's aimless exploration. It's doing it without the means of expectation of anything, just to go, hey, I'm going to go discover who I am. And by doing that, I'm going to be engaged in the world and all sorts of things that just strike my interest. It's a bit of a call to adventure. If it strikes me, let's go try it out. Let's see how it works. Maybe I'll discover my purpose doing it. Maybe it'll lead me to another path doing it. But at the very least, I'll have a damn good story to tell at the end of my life.
Darn straight on that one. Yeah, and I was thinking too, it's like back to like that straight laid out path where we just go up and it's pretty much like 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4, and everything. And it's like we're constantly like on this journey of arriving. Like, okay, I've graduated high school, I've gotten into college, I've graduated college, I've gotten this amazing job, and maybe I've moved up the career ladder. And it's like we keep building up these ladders and these steps thinking that one day we're going to arrive, but we never really arrive to anything because there's no place to arrive to other than this moment right here.
That's it. Life is not happening someday. Life is happening right now. Right now. So we might as well enjoy where we're at. And, because we're only getting one shot at this life. And so I think it's best to live presently and purposely and to find the happiness that is abundant around us. Maybe some of us, it's very difficult to see, but to choose to find that and choose to find the positivity in every moment, every waking moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't really have much to add to that one. I think you summed it up really well. Find the positivity in every moment because, there is something to be grateful for in each and every single moment. As challenging as life can be at times, there's always something to be grateful for.
Always. I wish I can high five you for that one because you're totally right. Am I cutting out here?
No, you're good.
Okay. I'll just make sure. I've got a little wonky camera there for a minute. You see me cut out first. Awesome. So Nicaragua, when does this happen?
This is happening July 13th through 22nd. So it's going to be 7 days of really intensive, deep coaching, sustainable surfing. We're going to make pea sticks with the local children and do a bunch of pea stick play. We're going to do jungle hikes and all sorts of fun stuff. Take a exciting walk or kind of a hike into Rivas midway through the retreat to restock on food and everything, which would be a really interesting experience for people going into a busy marketplace where people solely speak Spanish. And buying food and being like, okay, you know what, here we are. This is yeah, it'll be a blast. And then the last 3 days are pea stick teacher training for people who are interested in learning how to teach pea sticks and bring kind of this ancient technique and way of the sacred circle into their communities, into schools, into centers, pretty much anything you can imagine. That will be there as well, and it's fun, it's super playful, and it doesn't get much more simple than dropping into a flow state, catching sticks with other people.
I would say so. Yeah, that's beautiful. There's a charm to that. I think that's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm totally stoked, and for me, it's going to be a really great adventure, and not only just for the retreat itself, but looking forward as well in terms of how I'm going to be working with some of the clients that I'm taking on, because I'm very much kind of revamping my business and how I'm doing things. So part of my intention is going to be taking this humanitarian piece, and having that be an aspect of the one-on-one coaching that I do with my clients, where depending on the client and their intentions and how long they're signing up for, I will be taking them down to Nicaragua and giving them that experience one-on-one. And then any proceeds I have from my one-on-one coaching, 5 to 10% of that, it's going to go to different humanitarian causes. So it's just building this like major heart piece into everything that I do, and let heart completely guide the way. I mean, heart leads the coaching sessions with these amazing people and these clients for really powerful coaching conversations, and heart leads what I do with the energetic exchange.
That's so cool. You're making a big dent in the world, a very positive one. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's the intention, just like, focus on that one person who happens to be sitting there in front of me, and give them my all at that point in time, because I know if I can powerfully influence that person's life in a really positive way, and their world shifts, all the worlds around the people around them are going to start to shift as well.
Yes.
Like, what greater gift is there than that? And then on a larger scale, that's where the humanitarian part comes in. But I mean, for me, it's like, I have no intention to coach 1 million people in a year. I could freaking care less about that type of shit.
Sure.
What I care about is that one person who is right here, right now, and that's it.
Good. I think that's what's going to make you very powerful in serving your clients and in the world, for that matter, in your programs, is that, all that matters right now is the person right in front of me. I think it's the most important lesson you can learn as a coach, is to be fully present, fully engaged in the person you're talking to. So you do that, game on, and you have that soul, you got that fire right there, and you're ready to just change some lives, man. And you put that presence there. There's no reason this can't take off. This is beautiful. If there's any way I can help serve you or do anything as far as your trip in Nicaragua or coaching, anything, please let me know.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. As for Nicaragua, I would say the invitation is just, if you feel open to it, to share the event with anyone you feel may be interested in attending and having a life-changing experience.
Okay, great. No worries.
Awesome, thank you.
Absolutely. Beautiful. So, that's awesome. So, what's going on after Nicaragua? Are you taking this worldwide at some point? You're going to go to Africa? You're going to go to other parts of South America, with Asia?
Ironically, yes, Africa is on my list. And when I was in Switzerland earlier this year, I met a couple of, incredible women from Africa. And it's interesting. It's like, as I sit and think about them, I feel emotional because I have so much love and respect for the things that they are doing in Africa that it just blows my heart wide open. And it's unbelievable. There's one woman, she has started basically schools and kind of orphanages for children whose parents were HIV positive. All the kids are HIV positive. And either their parents have passed away or abandoned the children. So she has created a community, a school, where they're receiving an education, they're receiving food, they're receiving clothing, and everything else. So one of the big things that I want to do long term is just to continue to connect with her and some of the other amazing women from Africa who I know, and bring a group of people out to Africa to see these children and share an incredible experience with the kids, and as well as have the opportunity to be in circle with some of the people there, because they have such a strong connection to the land. And when these men and women sing and dance, it is so powerful and so healing that Yeah. I think it would just blow people wide open just to be able to sit and be there and share with them. So, yeah, Africa is definitely high on my list of places.
Good. Well, it'll happen. You keep doing what you're doing, and that door is going to blow wide open.
It sure is. It sure is. I'm ready. I'm like so stoked and excited. It's like I get up each and every morning and I can't wait. I'm just so excited to dive in and do work and put stuff together and share powerful conversations with people and fly with things.
I can see that. I can see that. Beautiful. Well, it's been real. This has been. I had no idea you were up to so many of these awesome ventures. It's super exciting. Maybe I'll have to make a surf trip down to Nicaragua this summer. Just stop by and say hey, something like that. I don't know, but yeah, this is super exciting. Very, very, very fun conversation today.
Yeah, and one other thing. I am in the process of putting together all of the moving pieces to launch a podcast within the next few weeks. I've done a couple of interviews already, and I had intended it to be a bonus for a program I was doing, but things shifted, and I said, you know what, I'm ditching the program for now. I'm just going to take these really raw and authentic conversations with people who are walking the talk and talking the walk and just living life on purpose and from a super raw, real, and authentic space and sharing it. So once I have a couple more moving pieces on, I would be honored to host you on the podcast for a really deep and authentic dive into the world of Travis Barton.
I was like, everybody's doing a podcast, man. This is going to be great. I'm sorry. So talk about entrepreneurial mind, got another thing doing. But yeah, I'd love to do that. That sounds like a lot of fun. I had a blast today, so let's do it. Let's set it up.
All right, sounds good.
Beautiful.
All right, thank you, brother.
Much love.
All right, much love to you too.